Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about the Ruger Mark III. Okay, now I do have two of these guns, one with a 6-inch barrel, one with a 4-inch barrel. There's not too many guns that I have almost exact, identical copies of the gun. Okay, but I do have these two Rugers, and that's because it's that great of a gun for the purpose that I use it for, which is training new shooters. Okay, now basically. I've had these guns for about 7 years. Um, I usually get these bricks of 500 rounds, and I order 10 of them at a time, and I'll order 3 to 4 times a year. Okay, so that's somewhere between 100 and 120,000 rounds over a course of 7 years. Okay, so over the course of 7 years, I've shot through these two guns and through the rifles that I use. Basically, I've done about 60% of the training through these guns and the 40% through the rifle. So basically, each of these guns over the course of 7 years has done about 30,000 rounds. Okay, and the only repairs I've had to make to these guns is I've had to change out the firing pin spring. Okay. And what I did is I changed both of them, and while I was in there, I also changed the firing pin. Okay, but it was the firing pin spring that actually broke. And the interesting thing is that the gun would actually still shoot. It's just that I would get more misfires and light strikes, and I knew that that wasn't normal for this gun. So I knew something had happened. And basically, when I opened up the gun, I saw that the firing pin spring had broken. And what happened was it broke so that at the point that it broke, I basically had 75% of the spring that was still functioning, which is why the gun was still shooting, just not shooting as consistently as it normally would, and I would get more misfires. So basically, it's a very solid gun. It's all steel. It's got some good weight to it. I mean, this is a gun that will last. Okay, if you're oiling this, and usually when I clean this gun, I clean it, I'll open it up, I'll take the magazine out, and I usually clean this gun without taking it apart. And the reason is because it is a pain in the ass to strip this gun down. Okay, I've only taken this gun apart maybe 2 times, maybe 3. And one of those times was basically to change the firing pin spring. Right, so I did it once with this gun, once with this gun, and I think I did it one more time to show somebody how to do it. And it's a very complicated process. I basically, it's something I don't do often enough, and it's complicated enough so that I have to go and find a video to watch before I take this gun apart. Okay, and there's basically you're gonna need a mallet, because once you take it apart, you gotta basically hit this in order to get it to come off the frame. When you're putting it back together, you have to turn it at a certain angle in order for the things to line up the way they're supposed to. So, it's a pain in the butt to get this gun apart and put back together. But the good thing is that you can, for the most part, you can clean the gun without having to take it apart. If you're using the rods and the spray that shoots the spray in there, and again oiling it up, so you don't have to take it apart too often. Okay. So it's a very solid gun. Like I said, I train new shooters with this gun. I have tons of magazines that I use, because I do a high volume. There's a high volume shooting that gets done through these guns. I mean, you can see this, wear and stuff on them over there. But the guns have held up pretty good. Okay? And I shoot these guns year round, through negative 4-degree weather, heat in the summertime. 7 years, they're doing pretty good, I think. Okay. So let's talk about some of the negatives about the gun. Okay. Number one, due to its design. Okay. Due to its design, when you do get a jam, it's a pretty nasty jam. Basically, there's not a whole lot of space and room inside that ejection port, and when you do get a jam, usually, first of all, when you do get a jam, it's not because of the gun, it's because of the ammunition. Okay. I used to use those cheap Federals in the brown box. You basically get maybe 1 out of 20 with misfire. I'd use the Thunderbolts, the same thing. Maybe 1 out of 20 with misfire. I did have better luck with the Armscor Okay, maybe 1 out of 30 would misfire. And now I've been using the Blazers. These are made by CCI. These do pretty good. I mean, with these, maybe I'll get maybe maybe 1 out of 50. Okay, but the 22s, you're gonna get misfires. You're gonna get jams. But again, it's an ammunition problem. It's not a gun problem. However, the gun design can make it a little bit more difficult for you to unjam it. Okay. So what happens with this is when the round is underpowered and the slide doesn't come all the way back to eject that empty case, something really weird happens is where the case that's trying to eject will kind of turn sideways, and the round that's trying to feed will go in, so it kind of foams across like this. And what you gotta do is basically you gotta drop out the magazine and try to get it out. I can usually get it out with my finger. Occasionally I've had to use a pick to get it out, but I can usually get it out with my finger. But you do have to drop the magazines. You cannot get it out with the magazine still in there. Another type of jam I'll get with this gun is that the round that goes into the chamber basically the rim will crush, and the extractor won't be able to grab it, pull out, and basically I gotta more or less run sometimes I can get a pick behind the rim and pull it out, but usually I gotta run a rod through the front to get it out. Okay, so that's the other type of a jam that you can get, and again, it's an ammunition problem, but at the same time, I don't have those type of problems with my Ruger SR22 or with my Walther 22 or my Phoenix 22. So the gun design, for whatever reason, helps facilitate that type of a jam. Okay. What else can we say about this gun? We already said that it's a pain in the neck to take apart. The sights that came on this gun are fixed. Okay, you can't move them. They do make a version of this gun that has the adjustable sights, and I would probably recommend that. With both of these guns, they are both accurate. At the distance, let's say at a distance of about let's say 20 feet, you'll probably get a grouping about that big. Okay. So they are pretty accurate. They will be off center a little bit, okay, and not by much. Usually by maybe an inch. So basically, if you got a bullseye out at about, let's say, 50 feet, what you'll find is that it will be hitting, maybe a little bit low, a little bit to the right, or a little bit to the left, and it's different for each of these guns, and you can't adjust them. With these type of targets, these are 6-inch targets. I have no problem hitting these targets at 50 feet away, because again, it's a 6-inch target. So even if it's off an inch, any which way, you'll still hit the target. But if you're trying to hit a piece of paper and you're trying to get an exact bullseye, it will be off a little bit. Okay, so that's the issue there, is that you cannot adjust the sights on the gun. Okay, so it's a very good gun. Like I said, I use it for training purposes. It's for training new shooters specifically. It's not a good tactical gun in terms of this is not the type of gun that you would want to do holster drills with. It does have a safety that you can use again, but again, the gun really it's not a tactical gun. It's a target gun. Okay, so this is a target gun. There's better options out there if you want to do tactical training and holster training. Okay, specifically the Ruger SR22. That's what I use. But for doing a high volume of shooting, this is a great gun. The Ruger SR22 that I have, that's not a gun that I give to brand new trainees, unless I'm doing holster drills with them, because it has the double action, single action, the cocker. Okay, so unless I'm doing tactical training with them, I'm not gonna give them the Ruger SR22. I'm gonna give beginners this gun, because it's a much more, it's basically a tougher gun. It's gonna take a lot more rounds, and what I do is I use my Ruger SR22 for the tactical training, and basically I put less miles on it. Of course, that is, I haven't had any problems with that gun, but I kind of get the sense that it's a lighter frame. That gun is probably not going to do 30,000 rounds and not have some type of an issue. I don't know. That's what I think. But with these guns, they're very solid, very robust. you can run lots of rounds through these guns. So I highly recommend them for that type of training, for that type of shooting. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.